Greetings, wayward travelers. Come on in, take a seat, and welcome to the Ecriom Expeditions. I'm your dungeon master, Logan Hanley, here to spin you and the adventurer you see before you a yarn through the lands of Ecriom. Before we get started, just a few announcements, and I'm going to be darting my head back and forth as I read notes and type things into chat. But first and foremost, want to give a quick shout out to a number of individuals. First of all, Brianna Flame of the Initiative Order and a number of other, oh god, I can't even speak right now. Fantastic tabletop games and streams. She was the creator of these overlays that you see before you today. So if you ever either need photography done or overlays done, whether they're custom or kind of, meshing with stuff, or if you need any kind of graphic design, reach out to Brianna Flame, reach out to Bree. She's amazing, great at what she does. Next is Esoteric, who you probably will see bits and pieces of his work. He's the one who I've talked to, who did all the cartography of the lands of Ecriom. And I want to give him due justice, so make sure you guys go follow him. If you're a DM or world builder and you want your own custom maps, feel free and reach out to him. He's amazing to work with, and it was an incredible time working on him and working with him to bring the world to life. Next is Dell, who, as you can see to my right, my right, and my right, Eddie's left. Yeah, I'm looking back and forth between the overlay now.
It's all right. Left is right. Right is left.
Right is left.
Right up is down.
Down it. Yeah.
Short is tall.
But Dell is the artist behind all of the character art that you will see here, not only today but throughout the rest of the prologue episodes for the Ecriom Expeditions, and even some guests at some point once we start bringing those in. And then finally, Adrian von Ziegler, who is the composer for all of the ambiance and music that you will hear not only on my normal streams, but on the Ecriom Expeditions as well. Next. Oh god, so many. Is that the correct spelling? It is. Sponsors for the Ecriom Expeditions. First of all, Dragon Rock RPG Design, the encyclopedia D&D brain of Daniel Lieberman mixed with the throw spaghetti at the wall and hope it sticks Rene Beauregard, bring this really, really awesome... Hey, listen, their words, not mine. Bring this really awesome, unique, and creative content to the tabletop role-playing game community through their use of homebrew subclasses, homebrew races, homebrew backgrounds. If you look at Jordan's Deep Breath over on the Initiative Order and elsewhere, you can find whole classes that they've collaborated with Jordan on. Now, they don't specify in that, so please don't bring it up to Daniel. I'll probably be in trouble, and he probably won't want to work with me anymore. But they provide an amazing and extensive experience and expertise to any material that they work on, so I would 100% recommend working with them if you are, again, a world builder or a creative that is looking to create your own classes, subclasses, or not subclasses, subclasses. I need to specify because they don't do classes. Subclasses, races, etc. Next, Umbral Oculus dice, created by the amazing Taryn, who we will see in the coming weeks. Yes, Taryn, and I have one of her dice as well, makes amazing dice through Umbral Oculus. They are where's my notes? Hand-poured, polished, artisan dice, and they are... they're just amazing. Go check out Taryn in Umbral Oculus. They are literally conjuring through the ether, through the veils of beyond, these amazing dice for you. And then last but not least, the Initiative Order, an amazing TTRPG community. TO is a collective of passionate TTRPG players and creators that want to help the community thrive and grow as much as possible. Their main goal is to explore and experience all types of gaming systems, not just Dungeons & Dragons, while creating a very inclusive community for all of us to play and watch in. And I believe up now they have their August monthly community games. Every month they do community games, so feel free to go check them out, check out their Discord, and all that good stuff. But yeah, I think that's it. Today I'm going to introduce our first player, our first adventurer, Eddie, the Discount Bard. Eddie, you want to do a quick, give your quick shtick?
Sure, why the hell not? Hi everyone, I'm Eddie, otherwise known as the Discount Bard. You can find me on all the various social medias at Discount Bard. I'm a TTRPG player, actor, voice artist, real-life jack of all trades, and just overall creative person who has a passion for gaming and a passion for storytelling. You can find me on Twitch, where I do regular streaming content, primarily Sea of Thieves these days, but I'm starting to work towards changing that up, towards miniature painting, eventually going to be working my way towards wearing the DM hat myself at some point in the near future, so exciting stuff in the future ahead. But otherwise, in the meanwhile, you can find me on all kinds of various channels, like this one right here, where I love bringing characters to life and telling fun stories.
Oh, your name is on there. Okay, good. For some reason, when I looked over at chat in there, your name wasn't on there, so I just shouted you out twice. But that's okay. Yeah, Eddie, the Discount Bard, amazing. Can't wait to dive into what we have in store today. And then last but not least, if for some reason you are feeling generous, if you like what we're doing and would like to support the stream, head on over to our coffee or Ko-Fi. I like coffee just because it sounds like coffee, and I really love coffee.
Thank you for the reminder.
Head on over to our Ko-Fi link where you are able to donate. Again, that's not by any means necessary, but if you find it in the kindness of your heart to do so, we love you greatly and appreciate you greatly. And yeah, it keeps the stream going. Everything is split amongst myself and all of the cast members, who you saw in the cast thing over in the chat, which includes Eddie, Renee, Taryn, Ronan, and Utahime. Am I missing anyone? Eddie, Taryn, Ronan, Utahime, Renee? There's 5 of you. Eddie, Taryn, Ronan, Utahime, Eddie. Yeah, that sounds correct to me. That's 5. I can count, guys. But yeah, so all the money's split amongst us 5 every month, and yeah, we'll kind of be. I'll be using a lot of it to upgrade things on my end and get minis and terrain and all that kind of cool stuff for the stream. And yeah, so whew. You ready?
Yes.
All right. Our adventure begins in the town of Finklentoog, a town known for its creativity and ingenuity, home to the latest in arcane clockwork technologies. As we zoom into the valley in which Finklentoog rests, passing the great towers topped with giant barreled cannons marked with arcane runes, and the great steel palisades topped with Goliath-sized suits of metal and gear, we zoom into and past the shops of the Clockwork Plaza, where dwarves, gnomes, and kobolds alike show off their mechanized wares, both great and small. Children run down the street chasing clockwork toys crafted to look like tiny dragons given life by gears and cogs. However, today, our focus isn't one of the contriving coalitions that makes up this great city. It isn't a tinkerer or artisan of the clockwork or arcane technologies that is creating massive or intellectually astounding innovations. We find ourselves traveling down the road from the Clockwork Plaza to a small goblin making his way home from the markets, watching and studying the small crafts of the Wondercraft Coalition. Eddie, would you like to introduce your character to us?
So, Art is a small little goblin, standing about 3 feet tall, green skin, pointy green nose, yellow eyes, and very messy dark hair that is a bit spotty in places, with clear singe marks from far too many explosions in his past. He wears wraps around his feet because, who could be bothered with shoes, especially when they just end up breaking on you anyway. And probably the 2 nicest bits of attire that he wears are a long coat that hold several pockets in them, in which all kinds of trinkets, doodads, and collectibles of seemingly junk seem to reside within them, and a fancy pair of telescoping goggles that he wears on his head that he received as a gift many years, not that long ago.
Now, Art, as you're traveling down this street, heading home from the markets, the first thing I need you to do is please make me a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, we're starting out strong here.
Yes.
Let's see. So I don't believe I have a modifier for that, so that'll be a 13.
13. Oh, I forgot to change that. Art will be starting as a level 2 artificer in September. Right now he is what's known as a commoner. So he's using a little bit different stat block than what we're used to. We got a little bit of different rules there. All that good stuff, which we will explain in due time. I'm sorry, can you repeat that dex saving throw for me?
That was a 13.
A 13. With a 13, you manage to vary, like, you kind of have something in your hand and, like, kind of just tinkering with it and looking at it as you're walking. And you see from your right-hand side this quick flash of red, and you stop yourself as a tomato goes flying past your face and into the stone wall of the building next to you.
Look! I think you dropped your tomato.
As you stand and turn and look, you can see sitting on a couple of barrels that are next to one of the houses, 2 kobolds, one green with some kind of gray specks in them, and then the second is like red with an orange, like all red with a bright orange underbelly. And they start kind of snickering and kind of laughing and pointing at you.
Like I said, friends, I think you dropped your tomato. It might still be good. Here, and I'm going to go over and pick up the remains of the tomato, try to brush it off and bring it back to them.
As you pick it up in your hands and you bring it over, the two kind of now at the fact that you're picking up start cackling and laughing and
I told you this one would pick it up and bring it back. He's too nice for one of his kind.
and the other one is like,
Oh, yes, he is. And you know what? He's just because he's innovative and belongs with those two. He's no good.
and you bring it over and like you go to like hand it off to him, and the first thing the kobold does is kind of like smash his fingers into yours, like the handshake almost, so the tomato paste not only gets into his hand but into the rest of yours.
Well, I suppose that's one way to make tomato juice. That wasn't exactly, my method, but it takes all kinds.
And they look at each other, and like they're weirdly. You get the vibe that like you're doing the exact opposite of what they want you to do, and they start to get angry. And the green one stands up and hops off his barrel and kind of gets not in your face, but like kind of in front of you and.
Why do you keep working on the things that you work on? Why don't you go back to the mountains?
Well, it's kind of a long story. I mean, it's not something that's easy to, sum up very quickly, but I mean, yeah, it's just, let's just say it's not a good idea for me to go back there.
You know, the way my brothers and I see it is that the sooner you head back to the mountains, the better it is for the rest of us. Cormorn and Figra can get back to doing actual work.
But they do actual work. I help them.
And they start to kind of snicker and kind of chatter in Draconic to each other. And you're familiar of like what Draconic sounds like, but you don't know Draconic, do you?
No, I don't speak it.
Yeah, so you're familiar being in Finklentoog long enough to know what Draconic sounds like, but you're not so familiar with it that you know what they're saying. And then the second one will he grabs his bag and he's like, you know what, here, take this to Cormorn and Figra with you, why don't you?
Okay. What is it?
It's a gift. You just give it to them. Don't open it until you get there.
Okay. Well, thank you.
And as you go to walk away, you hear a voice coming from like further down behind, like the way you had already came. Don't listen to them. As you see this giant metal man, almost Goliath-sized, start to walk down the hall towards you, or down the street towards you.
Do I recognize this figure?
Roll me a history check.
Well, that's a 3 on the die, which comes out to a 7.
7? Okay. Thankfully, because we're doing things the commoner way, checks are a little bit lower than normal.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, so you would recognize that this, first of all, is a Warforged, and the Warforged name is Lamba. Lamba.
Hi, Lamba.
Hello, little one. And it goes to kneel in between you and the two kobolds. And Skektek, Skeksil, and he reaches and grabs the bag from your hand and turns and hands it to them. Why don't the two of you head back home? And you immediately see both of the kobolds who had been like laughing and snickering at whatever they were doing. Their faces just become flush, which like is very like almost like malted, scaly kind of feel, like texture to it. And they're, right away, Lamba. We're sorry. And they kind of dart right into the alleyway that you guys were kind of congregated around, and are out of sight.
Well, wait, but. They left their gift, but okay. I guess maybe it wasn't a gift, but I don't.
The gift was a sack of bees. Art.
Well, I mean, you get honey from bees, right? So, I mean, that might be kind of a thoughtful gift.
You get honey from bees if there's honeycombs present. Unfortunately, this was with more malicious intent.
Well, I wonder. Will the bees, if you make them a home, like if you fabricate some honeycomb, would that maybe be a way for them to? Would they reside there, and then maybe they would make honey that way?
Checking data logs, and you stop as like you watch as like the eyes kind of grow a little bit, like start to flicker and go like dim bright, and then Lamba turns to you. Indeed, young Art, they would.
Oh, so it was a gift after all, then. Oh, I think Fikra will like this very much. They after all, with the price of honey being what it is these days, maybe this way we might be able to find a way to make it a little bit more affordable.
I have no response to that.
Do you mind?
Make a persuasion check with advantage.
That'll be a 17 minus 1, which will be 16.
16. Lamba looks at you, and it's hard to there's no facial features like on a normal humanoid that you'd be able to tell, but like just by their response you can tell is confused why you're taking this, but offers their hand anyway and says, as you wish, Art.
Thank you. I'm gonna carefully pick up the bag and make sure that it's secured tightly so that we don't get any surprises out of it and whatnot, and I excitedly take the bag and start heading back towards home.
All right. Takes you no time at all before you arrive back to the small kind of cottage-y looking like home that functions both as Cormorn and Figra's shop and home. Uh, both of them are renowned at their work and thus have their own little kind of corners of the home in which they do their work. But as you walk in, you can see Figra in the kitchen stirring some sort of pot, and then meanwhile there's a skillet on with some sort of meat, probably some sort of steak or beef roasting as well. And Art, I see you're home. How was the market?
I brought home a gift. Well, it's not a gift yet. It will be a gift, but right now it might be kind of dangerous. So maybe don't open it just yet. But it will be a gift.
He puts the pot back on top of the stove top and like checks everything, and then turns and hops his little gnomish self off of the stool that he has to kind of get on top of the counter and do his work, and comes walking over to you. What kind of what do you please elaborate, Art? You know I don't like surprises.
And I'm gonna hold up the bag, which I imagine might have some buzzing inside of it.
Yeah, it is a very, very aggressive, like steady, like zzz, like across the board. So it's very, yeah. You hold it up, and Figra kind of looks at it, and that would do well in the greenhouse if we can find suitable arrangements for a what's the word for the hive, to create the hive.
I know that you've been you've been really wanting to get some more honey for your recipes. So I thought maybe this would be a nice way to have regular access to it.
He reaches his hand out and kind of grabs you, not like grandma grabs you, but like kind of just very casually and paternally strokes your cheek, and I'll take those. And he takes the bag from your hand. You go clean up. Dinner's almost ready. How did you come by these, if I might ask?
Oh, I made some friends at the market.
You made friends. Good. What were their names? Who were they?
They were a couple of kobolds, I think. Eddie doesn't actually remember the name. It was Skek something, but I couldn't quite.
Skek Tech and Skek Sil.
Skek Tech and Skek Sil.
And you watch as Figra rolls his eyes. Dear honey, those two kobolds are not your friends. How many times do I gotta tell you, when people give you things, they're not being necessarily friendly all the time.
Well, we still got, a nice source of honey out of it.
In this case, your ingenuity plays out yet again, as every single time in the past, but sometimes people don't always they don't always have the nicest intent. Especially with you being you. Cormorn and I, obviously, we understand, and that's why we brought you in. You're special, you're different. But the rest of the world doesn't necessarily see you that way. At least here.
Do I make things difficult for you?
And you watch as Figra's starting to talk, and was getting ready to say something, and you hear the lumbering steps of the barrel-bellied gnome that is Cormorn coming up from the basement. No, boyo. The dwarven pricks in the collective do. And the kobolds only feed off the dwarves' egos.
I don't want to make things difficult for you after you were so nice to take me in.
And Cormorn comes up and kind of puts his arm around your shoulder and gives you a kind of one of those nice side hug, but like it's definitely like he's squeezing you a bit, invading your personal space. And let me ask you something. When you were on the street with those kobolds, did anybody help you out? Did anybody at all? Dwarf, kobold, gnome?
Well, yeah, there was Lamba. Lamba came to help out.
As the Allhammer willed it, I guess. Those Warforged are something special. And remember that, Art. While there is bad, and there are people with ill intent in this world, there are also people who are going to want to help you. Only you can know the difference.
Are there people who don't know if they're good or bad?
And Fikra steps up. Honey, Art, you're not bad. What would make you think that?
Well, bad things happen sometimes when I do things.
Bad things happen to all of us regardless of what we do. I mean, look at Cormorn. He has more accidents in his shop than anybody else that I know at the moment, and he is one of the most skilled tinkerers of this age. Everybody has their faults. Everybody has their ups and downs. It's what you do at the bottom that determines what happens at the top. And vice versa. You can only keep climbing if when you reach the top you keep going, right?
I love you. Thank you.
And the two of them just giant, like you get the big old bear hug with like the very kind of soft and tender embrace of Figra, as they just kind of just bundle you up and give you a bunch of love. And Figra, all right, well, supper's on. You know I don't like when the meat gets dry, and Cormorn especially doesn't like it. And he's like, yeah, and he just hops on top of he hops up into his chair, gets his knife and fork ready, and Figra starts to serve dinner. And as you guys eat and enjoy the meal...
There's nothing wrong with it. It is delicious, but, could I maybe ask for,
Yes, and, like, with, like, reading your mind, Figra opens up the lid of a box, reaches in, and pulls out a stick of this light yellow substance and hands it over to you as you receive your first stick of butter.
I immediately take a big old bite out of it with just glee, and then take some of the rest of the stick and spread it on the meat.
Cormorn rolls his eyes and just chuckles just laughs to himself, and like, this isn't the first time, this won't be the last, and they've definitely spent a good portion of their joint income on butter for you. But you sit there and enjoy the dinner, you enjoy your butter, and then continue on to bed as we transition to our next moment in Art's early life. Art, you are now level 2 as a commoner. Or not necessarily level 2, but you've reached tier 2 as a commoner. As a second tier commoner, you are now skillful, which means you gain proficiency with the skills and weapons granted to you by your chosen class, which is
Artificer.
which is Artificer. So Artificers are proficient with, let me double check. Hang on, I want to make sure I do. Oh, additionally, if the class learns, I forgot the important part because like this happens to you. Additionally, if your class learns cantrips at first level, you learn them now. So not only do you become proficient in simple weapons, but you are now also proficient. Oh, skills and sorry, I'm still learning too, guys. Skills and weapons. So any skills that you would be able to pick from your class, which I believe is out of Arcana, History, Investigation, Medicine, Nature, Perception, and Sleight of Hand. You also get proficiency in weapons, and you also get to choose 2 cantrips to use, or that you now become proficient in.
Mm-hmm.
Also, this wonderful tool is brought to you by myself, as well as Dragon Rock RPG Design. Yeah, any questions? Or are you pretty good to go? What did you take for your cantrips?
For the cantrips, we've got Magic Stone and Mending.
Magic Stone and Mending. Ooh, I like it. Okay, cool. So, as we transition to our next kind of scene, and for those of you watching, everybody's commoner or like prologue episodes are going to be slightly different. Some of them may be one extended, like actual self-contained story. One of them may be a series of stories that kind of just go along the life of the character as they are growing into their own. But for art, we fast forward probably a couple days or weeks to you sitting in Figra's shop. Figra is sitting across or standing across the counter from you. You are the counter full of vials and flasks and different concoctions all around. Behind you, the greenhouse, where now you can see the small, oh my god, why can't I think of the word? The thing where bees are.
Hive?
Hive. Yeah, the small hive, but like the box. What's it? Where the beekeepers, you know what I'm talking about?
Hive?
Is it still called a hive?
I think so.
Okay, I don't know. I should know this, but
Or bee box?
Bee box? Yeah, bee box, yeah. We're now the small bee box with like little, some honeybees coming out to tend the flowers and things. Figra is in front of you, and he asks, now, Art, when we're looking at alchemy and concocting potions, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
So you mix things together to get something else out of it.
Okay. And what is the ultimate purpose? And now this is from your perspective, Art, not from anything else I've taught you, but what is your perspective on the reason that we conduct alchemy? Why is alchemy practiced?
For the pursuit of knowledge. The only way that we can learn through the world and grow is to keep asking why and keep asking how.
Good. Now, take this, and he slides. I was thinking of Finn, who we'll meet later on. Whenever I think of Figra, I think of Finn. Which, Utahime, if you're in chat, which I know you are, already got me tripping up. Figra slides 3 things in front of you. A licorice root, and these are all things that you know, like you've been here before. You've worked and studied with Figra enough to kind of understand what he uses in his trade. But he slides licorice root, this red moss known as crimson moss, and then 2 other items, one which looks like to be a sliver of bark from a tree, and then the other looks to be a mushroom, but it has like the density as you pick it up and handle it. It has like the density of stone.
Okay.
What do each of these do? Or what do you think their purpose is in what we're doing?
Well, and Art is going to just sit there for a second and just sort of ponder this for a moment, as Eddie knows that there are spells that are associated with this, but is struggling to think of what they are off the top of my head.
If you'd like to give me a history or medicine or even arcana check, any one of those three would suffice.
Okay. Well, I think the highest... What were the options again?
Arcana, history, or medicine. I guess nature, too, if you're proficient with nature.
Arcana or history would be the highest. I did not roll well, so that's a 9.
A 9.
So I'm gonna say that Art is going to...
Oh! I forgot to do a thing as I lean into the camera. I forgot to use my blacklight dice.
Ah, there we go.
So for those of you who are watching, I am going to, and I should have started part of the stream with this, or at least done it so that way Eddie could see it, but prior to the stream starting. But what I'm going to do is I have these dice that are blacklight dice, and I'm going to roll all of them before the start of the show every week, or every session, and the players can use them to swap out their current rolls, which isn't by any means telling you that you have to do it, Eddie, but I have 2d4s, a d6, a d8, 2d10s, a d20, and a d12. If I can get the d6 out. There we go. Anyway, a 9. Are you happy with that roll?
A 9?
Yes.
Well, that was what I rolled.
All right. So, as you are... I just remembered. I apologize for that, Eddie.
I was going to say that likely what I was doing is that I was going to be pondering, thinking hard about this while unconsciously starting to nibble on the piece of licorice.
And as you do, Figra reaches out their hand and smacks you on the hand. And that's not what that is for. You don't nibble on that. And even as you do, you can start to feel a tingle. And that tingle kind of starts with like your gums and your tongue. And then you start to feel the jitter all throughout the rest of your body. As you start to feel yourself kind of get like ramped up and like you want to move a little.
Boy, this stuff is really good stuff. It's really, it makes me feel really, really good. It makes me really want to jump all over the place. And wow, I really, really like the taste. Where'd you get this from? Is this from the market? Because I can go get some more. Because I don't want us to run out. It's really, really, really good.
Go touch the bee box and come back.
And I am going to sprint on over to the bee box and do exactly that.
As you do, you run there and you run back. You notice that, like, usually when you run from the table to the that area of the greenhouse, it takes you slightly longer to get there, but you're able to get there and back in like not no time, but like the time has been reduced compared to what you know is like your typical speed.
Boy, that stuff is really, 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 really good. Is there any more of it?
First, you don't eat it raw. Eating it raw is, well, it's not good. It will, if you eat a whole root, it'll probably stop your heart. But you do this, and you watch as Figra takes it and puts it into a bowl and pours boiling water onto it, and it seeps into the bowl, and then she takes, or he, sorry, God, I keep throwing myself off. He takes the root out of the mixture after it's been soaking there for a minute, and pours it into another vial, heats it up, and when it does, it turns almost like a sky blue color, and then hands it to you. This is a suitable beverage that will help you feel like that for a little bit. Not very long, mind you, but it'll give you the boost you need when you need it.
I'm going to take a shot in the dark and imagine that after that brief little stint right there, that Art is going to slightly slump over, feeling a little fatigued after that brief little hyper stint.
You have a slight kind of, like, yeah, you have a slight little point of, like, exhaustion, right? Like, you hit the snooze button and then come back.
Yep.
But it's like a split second for you. Mostly because you are yourself just sugar and butter and yeah. But it's hard. It's hard to knock you out.
The flour, but
yeah, try it. It's hard to knock you out.
2/3 of a cake.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah. So
that stuff was good.
And this is something that you in time might be able to make that would be helpful to you. And he takes it and puts it into the, opens a drawer and puts it into a rack in there. Now, the moss and these two. Which would you like to examine next?
And Art is going to just fascinatingly stare at the super dense mushroom.
Okay. What would this be used for?
This one also looks tasty.
Are you only judging these based on the quality in which they could be eaten?
No.
You already have it in your mouth.
No.
Roll a deception check against it. No, I'm kidding. No, yeah, no. Roll a sleight of hand check. How about that?
All right. Oh boy, we're doing well today. That'll be a 9.
A 9.
Yes.
You got like you got the bulge like on the side of your mouth as you're trying to hide it, and then you got a little bit of the root of the mushroom sticking out, and Feger just takes his hand and places it on the stem or the root and pulls it out. And as you do, you feel your skin and your hands begin to harden. And you look down, and your normal like greenish skin tone is turning into almost like a dull like olive green. And your hands, they don't become stiff to move, but they just feel like the skin on the outside is tighter and like denser in a way.
Whoa. What? Huh? What? How?
Stone's Toe, which this is called, maintains the property in which to enable you, as well as this bark over here, gives you the ability, or one, as now Figra is starting to chop up with a knife the Stone's Toe, and then like very, very finely, almost like into, or like very, very finely, and then throws it into a mortar and pestle and starts to grind it down into a powder, and then starts to sprinkle it into a ice bath, like a vial that has just a ton of ice in it, shakes it like they would a cocktail, and puts the vial down, and it has this very, very like brackish gray color, very, very earthy tone to it.
What's this called?
It's a simple Stone's Toe concoction, but it gives the drink, or whoever drinks this liquid, the ability to increase their toughness. Doesn't make them stronger, doesn't make them hardier, it just gives their skin the ability to defend itself just a little bit better.
This might come in handy if those bees ever get rowdy.
Oh, I would make this for myself, other than wearing the bee suit, if it was financially sound to do so. It's not expensive, but to maintain the quality of it, I can't go drinking it every time I want some honey.
That's fair. That makes sense. What's so what's this red stuff?
This is red moss. Thank you for not eating it. Red moss is used, and Fikra takes it and like rolls it up into like a tiny, almost like a pouch, and takes a ice cube and puts it in there. Now you can do this one of two ways. You can either soak it in liquid until the moss melts, or you can wrap it in some sort of ice and pop it into your mouth and let the ice dissolve the moss and kind of eat it that way. Both of which allow for rejuvenation and invigoration of the body, physically.
Oh.
And first, Figra. Wow, Figra really loves you. Because that was only an 8. But Figra misses the first time, and then swings out with a... Wow! Taryn! I love Umbral Oculus dice. I love Umbral Oculus dice. I love Umbral Oculus dice. I'm using another die. That's still low. Okay. Fikra doesn't want to smack you, but she does, and it hurts. And then as you're going to go, she shoves it, or he, God, I keep calling.
It's all good.
He shoves the mixture into your mouth, almost like chewing tobacco, like into like that side pocket, and then closes your mouth and lets it dissolve, and that hurt and that pain that you felt immediately gone. You feel like $1,000,000.
Whoa. Do it again.
No. I don't enjoy doing that typically, other than for demonstration purposes.
Okay, well, maybe next time then.
No. Very confused. Now, Art, is there anything that I haven't shown you here that you would like to learn?
Well, you still haven't used this yet, and I'm gonna hold up the sliver of bark.
Oh, the oak bark is very similar to stone's toe. You have to find certain trees for it. You gotta have the right health to the bark, but the same thing kind of coats it's different. While the stone's toe makes your skin feel, well, like stone, the oak bark makes your skin tough like the oak. They're very similar properties for both. They're just two different reagents that you can use while crafting this concoction.
Can I try?
Can you try to craft something?
Yeah.
What would you like to make? And you can see now that, like, first was like mentor, but now really, really like the light in Fikra's eyes immediately pop. Very excited to try to get to craft and concoct something with you.
Art would like to try to see if we can take the knowledge that we just learned from this lesson to try to replicate a potion that would have a similar effect to what we were just taught. So let's start with the that licorice root one.
No. Oh, by the way, guys, I'm on my Yeti. Is my mic audio that bad? I just looked at chat and they said my mic audio is bad.
You're sounding good to me.
Yeah, I think I'm fine. Def sounds different. I don't know. No, it sounds good. Okay, cool. Cool. Listen, I like to. We're using. Oh, by the way, we're using Demiplane instead of Zoom, so that may also be why. It may be something with the way that Demiplane works. I don't know how. I just work here. Yeah, but all right, cool. I'm sorry. What did you say, Eddie?
I'd like to try to brew that concoction using the licorice root.
Okay. And Figra pulls out a drawer, or opens up a drawer, pulls out a smaller licorice root than the one that he used, and places it before you. Places a vial, places a colander and a small bowl, and then you can hear, or turns around, turns on the small, like, stovetop and gets a pot of boiling water ready. Go ahead and give me a let's I mean, it'll be Tinker Tools without proficiency, so it'll just be an intelligence check.
Okay. I am not doing well today.
And remember, you have the option. I have a D20 sitting right here with your name on it. Literally,
whatever.
You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 dice here that are all for you in case you want to switch them. However, you either take the die that I rolled, or the die that you like. If you choose that one, you take that one. It's like luck.
I'm gonna choose the one that you did, because there's no way, there's very little chance that it'll be worse than what I just rolled.
All right, D20 is going away. The D20 was an 18.
That is 16 higher than what I rolled.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. So 18 plus your intelligence.
That'd be a synthetic 20.
A synthetic 20. Nice. I'm gonna keep a record during these to see who can roll the highest roll, because I think the highest that somebody can get is a 22. Yeah, but no, you very, very deftly take everything. You scuttle on over and grab as the teapot is starting to whistle. You grab the teapot. You go over. You throw the colander over the bowl. You throw the licorice root into the colander. Start to pour the boiling water in. Let it steep for a minute. Dump it, then transition it into the flask. And there's a little bit of bubbly brew at the top. Like, it bubbles a little bit. Like, you maybe put a little too much water in it, but it's still similar color, similar texture to the one that you had watched Figra make just minutes earlier.
Now, would I know enough from what Figra has taught me to know if I can add anything to this concoction without ruining it?
Make an intelligence check.
All right.
Yeah, make an intelligence
better than
check.
a 2, please and thank you. Well, it was better than a 2.
What, a 3?
No, that'll be an 8.
An 8. You're not quite sure. You've seen in his alchemical works mixing, like, different concoctions, but again, it's kind of fuzzy. You kind of hop in and out, and you're very, like, I think I can say you're very scatterbrained. So you probably saw it and you were like, oh, like, you didn't think anything of it. So now that you're recalling it, not quite sure if he was actually mixing two things or if he was making one thing but two separate. Like, yeah, I don't know if that helps or if that just confused you more.
So, I would like to. Are there any other ingredients nearby?
The oak bark has not been used yet. So that's still on the counter where you're at.
Is there any like? Okay. I would like to add some salt to the concoction if possible.
Add some salt? Yeah, there's salt around.
Okay.
This is yeah. What do you think this is?
The flavor smells off, so I figured a little salt might help make it more palatable.
Okay. As you put in the salt, how much are you putting? Like, how much are you putting in?
Like a little. Let's see, just like Salt Bay.
Salt Bay.
Do a little Salt
well,
Bay. Yeah, we do a little Salt Bay on this.
Salt Bay puts a lot of salt. I don't know if you ever watched Salt Bay.
Yes, I have.
So you take the salt, get a little pinch, Salt Bay it up. As you do, probably a significant portion does not go into the actual vial because it's a small hole that you have to get all the salt into. But you watch as it starts to bubble, and it bubbles over just for a brief second, and then the bubbling stops and it goes back to its sedentary state.
Is there like something that I can use to sample it?
Yeah, there's droppers and any tool that would be in an alchemist shop or in like general alchemy supplies is there.
Taste check.
You take a test. Go ahead and make a Constitution saving throw for me.
Okay, I'm putting this die in dice jail. Are those dice still available for me?
I would allow.
If not, it's fine.
I'll allow the D4s to act as blessed dice. So you could add a D4. You choose. Now there are two D4s. There's a D4 on the left or a D4 on the right. You tell me which one you want, and you could add the score on that one to your roll.
Let's go to the left.
All right. D4 on the left was a 2, so add 2 to whatever you just rolled.
Perfect. This was a con save?
Constitution saving throw, correct.
Excellent. So that'll bring me up to a 3.
A 3. You, Art, are going to take... Let's see if Umbral Oculus likes to hurt you. Hey, you'll take 2 points of poison damage. As the concoction that you've made, and Figra notices your reaction and smiles. There's a give and take in all things, child. When working with the alchemical arts, you need to be sure that when you give something, you're also taking something. So by giving and imbuing this water with the ability to, give you a little boost, you're taking away the water's actual kind of potency of just being able to hydrate and refresh you. Adding salt to that is adding another thing, another imbalance to the already balanced concoction.
I thought it might have helped the flavor a little bit. It had a bit of a tartness to it that I thought this might help, but okay.
One thing to keep in mind with alchemy is that it never tastes good. and he says that with he's laughing to himself. Trust me, I've made a lot of things in my life, and very few of them taste as good as I want them to be.
But, well, those sweet rolls that you make are really good.
That's baking, dear.
But you're combining ingredients together to make something new. Isn't that alchemy?
Yes, it is alchemy in a sense, but alchemy is the perfect combination of all the ingredients necessary to make that one thing. So when I make sweet rolls, I'm taking all the ingredients, making them the most balanced as possible, and then crafting. I don't know how to explain baking as alchemy. This is dumb. And I just make food. You can tell, even though Figra is a very, very practiced alchemist, the concept of cooking and alchemy, even though it should have been connected, was one that Figra never understood. And now you are opening a wormhole in the dimensional rift of time. You're breaking the sacred timeline. No, I'm kidding. Alligator Loki. No, I'm kidding. We don't need that Loki. But no. So with that, Figra kind of looks at you as is there anything else that you'd wish to learn today?
Well, I've been wanting to ask you about this for a while, but I've never really been able to figure out the right words. In some ways, by mixing these things together, you are adding to what's there, but you're giving new life to it in a way, aren't you?
In a sense, yes. When I craft any one of those concoctions that I just showed you, You're taking away what made it unique and adding things that make it a different kind of unique. And yes, you are bringing life to something new, in the sense of the concoctions are not actually physically alive like you and I, but yes, there are forms of alchemy that can be derived in creation.
Have you ever made something you didn't understand?
I have. It's been many years. Both Cormorn and I have both made things that, at the time, we thought we understood them. To only later find out that we didn't.
What did you do?
Well, Cormorn being Cormorn, burned it with fire. I found a way to understand it.
How'd you do that?
Well, with the type of alchemy that I do, it's easier to look and listen and touch and feel than the type of work that Cormorn does. So I was able just to kind of study it under a microscope and just really understand the essence, both arcanely and genetically, of what it is.
Have you ever created something that can feel?
That's a story for another time. And you can tell, like, whatever you said definitely hit it. Like, not a nerve, but, like, it hits something, and you see Figra's face go from kind of casual and relaxed and just having the conversation to kind of dropping and kind of sullen.
In a unusual character moment, Art is going to actually read the room and not push further.
And with that, we are going to pull away into space and time. As Art, you progress to the third tier of being a commoner, which is eeny, meeny, miny. It's called Survivor. You've made it this far through your adventures. You can make it through, or can you make it through the final stretch? Maybe this will help. You gain proficiency in the... it should be armor. Armor and saving throws, not weapons and saving throw. You're already proficient in weapons. Armor and saving throws of your adventurer class. Additionally, you become proficient in the armor, or in the... there's still typos in here, folks. Armor, weapons, and saving throws. I think that's it. Yeah. Daniel, yeah, it's armor and saving throws. That's what it was, because it was weapons and skills. And I guess tools, too, so I guess you would have been. It is what it is. We're still learning, guys. I should know this better, but, so you get proficiencies in your saving throws that you would as an artificer, which are Constitution and Intelligence.
Yep.
And then you also get light armor, medium armor, and shield proficiency.
Hey.
And then you also get Thieves' Tools, Tinkerer's Tools, and then I would say one Artisan Tool of your choice. What is your third? Or what is your Artisan
let's see.
Tool?
So I think I get I get Alchemist Supplies, Thieves' Tools, and Tinker's Tools by default. For the next one, I forget what the other options are. I don't know what other tools there are.
Let me look on Google. Tools 5. You know, when you type in tools and the immediate thing that pops up afterward is 5e, you know that you've looked at too much D&D. Alchemist supplies, brewer's supplies, calligrapher's supplies, carpenter's tools, carpenter's tools, cartographer's tools, cobblers, cooks, glass blowers.
There it is. We'll go with cooked. I feel like we might have taken a leaf out of either Figra or Cormorn's book. Figra's the one who cooks mostly. Right?
Figra is the cooker, Cormorn's the eater. Yep.
So we'll take
that's always the combination. There's always one who cooks and one who eats. I mean, sometimes there's two, but awesome. All right. With that, before we start the next part of Art's adventure, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break. We'll be right back. Unfortunately, no giveaway at this time, but we love you, and we'll be back, and we'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you for joining us. There we go. Welcome back. Whew. As always, this is the Ecriom Expeditions. I'm your Dungeon Master, Logan Hanley, here to guide our wonderful little butterball gobbo, Art the Goblin, on his commoner adventure. I'll do the sponsor stuff and all that at the end. I don't know. It's my first time. I'm trying to figure out when I want to do things. But yeah, let's dive back in. Art, you're back on the street, this time making your way toward the market. There you go. You're good.
Yep, camera goofing on me.
Making your way toward the market this time from Figra and Cormorn's home, down the streets, when you hear two familiar voices, one of them going, "Get him! Get him!" and the other one kind of throwing something and going, "We almost got it! We got it cornered here in the alley!" and kind of scuttling, and then the little eep as well from the alleyway that kind of you're starting to approach.
I keep on approaching forward and investigate what's going on.
Go ahead and give me a perception check.
I'm going to take a brief moment here to make a quick little shout out to the wonderful dice from Oculus, which are treating me much more favorably than the dice I was rolling prior.
help the player, not the DM. I get it. That's
yes.
Cool.
Perception, you said?
Yes.
That'll be a 18.
An 18. As you stare down this alleyway, you see two things, or well, a number of things in front of you. You see the two familiar kobolds, Skektek and Skeksil, who look to be cornering in the back of the alleyway what looks to be a skunk.
Hi friends. What's going on?
Skeksil turns around. "It's none of your business. We're just getting dinner."
The market's back that way.
"Yeah, we got dinner right here in front of us."
I don't see it anywhere. Is it somewhere behind that little creature there?
Tech, do we really need to explain? And Skektek turns around and like points to the skunk, and Skeksil diverts his attention away from you toward the skunk again, and starts to pull out a dagger. And Skektek says, "Listen, Greenskin, we're gonna kill a skunk and eat it for dinner because skunk is hella good, and the glands of the skunk can be used for booby traps. So that's why we're doing it. I don't know why I explained that to you, but I am."
Why would you? But it hasn't done anything to you. Can't you see it's scared?
And Skektek takes a pole that had been leaning against the side of the wall, and he takes it and puts it on his shoulder, and you notice at the end of it looks to be some sort of scorpion or other kind of insect with like a stingy tail. "Listen, Gobbo, either you can continue down the road and not worry about what we're doing here, or you can stay here. Things are going to get messy. Those are your options."
Can you describe this alleyway to me a bit more? Like, just what else is in my environment right now?
Yeah, so the alleyway is just pretty it's straight and narrow. It ends with a wall, like probably about a 10-foot high brick wall. On either side, there are like a couple of like receptacles and things like that do look to be overflowing with trash. But there isn't a whole lot of cover, and it's pretty much like you're standing at the end of the alleyway, and the skunk is standing at the other end next to the wall, and the kobolds are in between you. There isn't much room to go in and out. Well, actually, for you guys, because you're goblins, it's probably about 10-ish feet wide, but yeah.
Where are the? You said that there are some waste receptacles of some sort. Where are those in conjunction to everyone else?
They're scattered across the alleyway, but there are a couple that are like within 5 or 10 feet of the kobolds.
Okay. I would like to see if I can. Are there any like small pebbles or anything like that nearby?
Oh yeah, there's enough, and I would say because this is a fast forward, you'd probably have already had some on you as well.
Okay. I would like to try and see if I can subtly reach into one of my pockets and gently rub my fingers against one of those little pebbles, and I would like to try and see if I can subtly, while they're distracted with the little furry creature, toss one of those rocks towards one of the trash cans as a diversion.
Go ahead and make a sleight of hand check for me.
That will be an 18.
An 18. Let me double check one thing. Okay. You take the stone out of your pocket and you chuck it, and you get it at such an angle where it hits the one and then it bounces back and forth between that one and the one that's next to it a couple of times as it works its way to the ground, and both kobolds turn away from the skunk and look toward where you had thrown it. The one lowers his stick with the scorpion on the end toward it as well.
While now is the skunk like trapped in a corner right now? Or
yeah, the skunk has been trapped, so you're here. The two kobolds are here, and then the skunk is over here, and then there's a wall right behind the skunk.
I would like to take advantage of the commotion and distraction to try to run forward and see if I can offer the little furry creature an escape route.
Okay. Go ahead and... roll, actually, roll initiative for me.
Okay.
That's the best. That's actually probably the best way to solve this.
That's fair. That'll be a 7.
A 7. Okay. Cool. You're actually, surprisingly, you can continue to thank Taryn.
I will absolutely do so. It sounds like favoring me and
continue
not you.
Continue to thank Taryn and everybody else who helped choose, because I didn't pick, I did pick, but ultimately I went with what people helped me choose as my DM dice for this evening, and I rolled a 5 and a 6. So you get to go first. You dart in. You're able to get to where the skunk is. As you do, the skunk, its eyes, you can see, are just huge pupils, like flight or flight, getting ready to do something. As you approach it, what are you doing?
I am attempting to, wave it away to, give it, like I said, to give it that escape route. Hopefully the kobolds are distracted, and I'm running up, and I'm trying to, I don't know, wave my arms or, frighten it away to go, no, go that way, go that way.
Okay. Go ahead and give me an animal handling check, please.
That will be... Wow, I actually rolled really well on that. That'll be a 19.
19. The creature, realizing that it doesn't have to fight and instead can run, looks at you, doesn't necessarily give you any sort of inclination, but just darts right past you along the left side of the alleyway. As it does, the kobolds are starting to turn around and, hey, no! Get back here! And one starts to turn to run toward it, while the other one, Skeksil, starts to turn with his dagger drawn and run toward it as his as part of his turn. As Skektek, will turn with his staff, saying, "You let our dinner get away. Not letting this go this time." And is going to try to attempt to swing out toward you with their staff. So I'm going to roll.
Now, just out of curiosity, do I have the thing that we were discussing earlier that you said that I would get?
Yes.
Great. Okay.
Well, hang on. Are we talking? You can use your frying pan as a shield, or
yes?
Yes. Yeah. You have your frying
Cool.
pan. You have your frying pan with you.
Cool.
Taryn. I'm going to let you watch what I'm doing so you can understand that the next D20 you give me better roll high. There, it's going. This is the first dice jail of the campaign. And it is an Umbral Oculus die. I absolutely love, I cannot stress enough how much I love Umbral Oculus die until I have to roll a natural 1 like I just did, as they whiff and slam the staff onto the ground, and the head portion where the scorpion's at snaps off.
On that same note, I would very much love to thank Umbral Oculus Dice for the great rolls that I've started rolling ever since I switched back to them.
Oh no, they're absolutely, like, I love, like, if they're, I'm not taking it out. It doesn't deserve to come out yet. No, it's staying there. It's staying there. Too soon. You think about what you did die. But yeah, so now we're back up to the round. You have Skektek right in front of you. You have Skeksil a little bit farther out, probably about 20-ish, 25 feet away. And then you have the skunk, which is on the far end of the alleyway, using most of its movement to get out of dodge.
Is there another receptacle on the path that the skunk and Skektel is the one that's chasing it?
Skeksil.
Skeksil is chasing it. Is there another waste receptacle on that path?
Yeah.
I would like to try to take another one of those stones and see if I can, with that little bit of additional magical force, have enough power to try and see if I can knock over the receptacle, hopefully at the right time to divert Skeksil.
Go ahead and make an attack roll for me.
That will be a... Math is hard. 17.
17 will do the trick. I want to roll a dexterity saving throw for Skeksil. That is a +2. That's only an 8. So you throw it. It hits and knocks over with that force the trash receptacle, and a bunch of garbage comes tumbling out. Skeksil is running, just super hyper focused, and doesn't hear the ting, and then the crash, and just trips headlong over it, and is on the ground prone. Let's see, Skeksil's turn. He's going to get up and keep chasing the skunk down the alleyway. And actually, let me see. I'm going to do one thing for the skunk. Ooh, what? I rolled a fucking 19 for the skunk to hide. A 19 for the skunk to hide.
The dice know the story.
The dice knows the story. I mean, if I'm any kind of DM, I'm the DM that, like, the dice are obviously there to tell the narrative. But, like, in this case, like, I was like, man, I hope that maybe the skunk gets away. It's a fucking 19. Of course it is. And Skeksil is going to reach the end of the alleyway and gets a... yeah, that's a 4 for perception. And instead is going to kind of turn back toward you and just say, dinner's gone! Get rid of the gobbo! And that's about it for his turn. Yeah, let's see. Skektek is going to reach into his bag that he has there and is going to pull out a jar that has this green-looking slime in it, and because he's standing in front of you, he's going to have disadvantage on the attack roll, but what can he do? He wants to use this. Let's see, that's 7 plus 4, so that's an 11 to hit.
Assuming that my frying pan functions as intended, that would not hit.
Yeah, I'll allow it for that. Yeah. What's your AC, 12 now?
Yes.
So he tries to throw the... Let me make sure it does. Let's see. Yeah, so he throws the jar at you, and it smashes across the front of the... You get the pan out, blocks it, and smashes across the front, and this green goop just drops to the ground in between the two of you, and you just begin to see that the area in between you and Skektek just sizzles and bubbles as this green liquid just corrodes the ground beneath you. Your pan somehow fine.
What does it smell like?
It smells like very citrusy and like almost very citrusy, but it and acidic would be what it would smell like. Almost like if like lemon pledge and orange juice was combined.
In spite of everything that's going on right now, Art is going to tuck that information away in the back of his head.
And I'm gonna regret it later. Art, it is your turn. What would you like to do? We're back to the top of the round.
Cool. I am going to disengage.
Okay, you disengage.
Run.
You start running down the alleyway. You get kind of toward the end. Skeksil is at the end of the alleyway, waiting for you. So he will engage. As well. Oh, are you gonna? Oh, that's your bonus action. You bonus action to disengage, right? Because you're a Gobbo.
Do I? No,
Or is
I don't
it?
think
Or is
so.
it hide and dash? This bonus action. What does Goblin get? Goblin gets something.
I get something. I don't remember what it is. Oh, nimble escape. Oh, you're right. You're right. Nimble escape. I can take disengage as a bonus action. You are absolutely right. I completely forgot about that.
Awesome.
So, yeah. Do I have enough movement that I would end up coming in contact with
Skeksil? If you use, probably not. But again, disengage works for like everything, so you're good. Or actually,
Okay.
yeah, that works. Yeah. I'm the DM. I make the rules. Yeah, you wouldn't get attacks of opportunity from Skeksil if you ran past him with your dash action.
I was more thinking that, as I was running past, if I could take a panicked swipe at him with the frying pan.
Oh yeah, go for it. You definitely can do that. Go ahead.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not gonna not let you do that. Go ahead.
Great.
Yeah, and you're proficient with your frying pan, so it'll be a +1 to whatever you roll, plus your strength, I believe, is what we're going to use. Because it's functioning as a club.
If it's functioning as the club, if I'm proficient with it, that gives me +2.
Well, commoner is different
Commoner,
than
you're right,
art. Yeah.
So that'll be a 19 to hit then.
Yeah, 19 hits. Go ahead. It'll be I think we said D4 plus or D6. What's a club? I don't know why I don't know.
I think
this.
it's D4.
Yeah, D4 plus your strength bonus.
Which would be nada. However, apparently the dice are favoring me, so that'll be a whopping 4 thwack damage.
4 thwack damage as you swing your frying pan. You just completely bash the jaw of Skeksil, and you watch as like the bottom portion of it just slows. Like you crack the jaw, and you watch as it just dislocates, and he's like it's just moving in a weird motion. As you do that 4 points of damage to him, and Skeksil looks really, really fucked up, and starts just trying to replace his jaw. Ow! And because of that, he's going to use his turn to get the fuck out of Dodge and just run out of the alleyway as far away from you. He's going to disengage and just book it back toward the market. Skektek is going to run kind of up to you, look at you, and is going to do kind of a quick assessment of the situation, being a little bit more calculated than Skeksil, realizing he doesn't stand a chance, and is going to just action dash right the hell out of the alleyway, and you are out of combat. Well, I guess you would have one more action if there's anything you wanted to do while they were running away.
While they're running away, I'm getting out of there. I want nothing to do with this.
Okay.
And, when I feel like I'm in a, relatively safe spot, I am going to collapse to the ground and catch my breath.
Okay. You collapse to the ground after you make your way back toward Cormorn and Figras. Exhausted and completely tired. this was a lot of work for you. You're not used to having to kind of like your fight or flight senses are tingling, and it's been like you haven't had to experience that in quite some time. As you're sitting there, almost like semi PS like PS or PTSD. There you go. I can't speak right now. PTSD flashbacks. The little skunk that you had saved starts to make his way out of a flower bed that was in the windowsill of one of the homes next to you, that you're sitting next to.
Oh. Hi there, friend. Looks like you managed to get away okay after all.
And the skunk walks up to you and just nuzzles your foot, your unbooted foot. I was about to say your boot, and then I remembered you were barefoot. I was like, what?
I have foot wraps. They're not entirely barefoot.
Yeah, they're not entirely shoes, but they're not entirely not shoes.
Oh, well. You seem nice. And I'm going to gently reach my hand out to try and see if the little thing will let me pet it.
Go ahead and give me another animal handling check, this time with advantage, because you had saved this skunk's life.
That will be a 21.
A 21, which is now the new record for highest roll. There you
Yes.
go. Congratulations, you beat yourself. As you reach your hand out, the skunk's head nuzzles up against it and then just comes in for like a full body cuddle, as you can now just pet it and stroke it and give it all the love that you would like.
Did you want to live here? I mean, we just got a fresh new supply of honey that, will probably taste really good to you.
It looks up at you, and you get the sense, yeah, it wants to stick by you, at least for now.
Well, if you're gonna stick around, you'll need a name. And I'm gonna start looking around and just trying to come up with ideas and thoughts and such like that. And I'm gonna look back towards that flower bed that they had popped out of earlier. Well, from where I come from, the word for flower is dulcar. Would that be a nice name for you?
It just continues to look up. Snuggles in a little bit closer.
I'll take that as a yes.
And Art, do you have the stream up right now?
I do.
Take a moment.
Oh my god!
Del, if you're still watching, thank you.
Oh my god!
I've been sitting on this for almost 3 weeks, man. Or no, it was probably less, but still, been sitting on this. I couldn't tell anybody. Somebody
I'm
please,
gonna cry. That makes me so happy.
somebody please GIF that reaction. 100%, please. Or clip that. Also, yeah, please, guys, feel free to clip stuff. I'm gonna go back and eventually get stuff, but if you guys see stuff in the moment and want to clip it, please do. Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that so much.
Yeah. I don't even want to thank you, dude. I've been waiting. That was the entire reaction that that's all I was waiting for, man. Oh god.
Oh my god. Oh, yeah. That I can't even words.
Ronan's surprise is just going to be a headstone. It's okay. I mean, what? No, I'm kidding. But no. Congratulations with the saving. Oh, actually, no. You still got to go home.
It's true.
It's true. You got to go home. You collect yourself. You collect the small skunk, Dulcar, and you head back to your home with Cormorn and Figra. As the door opens, You hear the gentle chopping coming from the alchemy shop or the alchemy lab of Figra, and you can see Cormorn sitting on the couch in your living space, reading what looks to be some sort of newspaper.
I made a friend today, an actual friend this time.
Cormorn folds the newspaper, not begrudgingly, but just kind of with a and looks over. What did we say about strays? This is like the third one now? Come here.
This is still a car.
And he reaches down to pick up Dulcar. The dice hate me today, so he gets bit in the finger. Dulcar lashes out and like nips his finger. And he goes,
"No.
Well, good thing I left my..." And he pulls out his like thick like blacksmithing gloves, like, and puts them on, and then reaches down, and Dulcar tries to like bite his hand real quick, and the gloves are just stopping him, and he lifts up, puts them on his lap.
It's okay. This is one of my dad's. They're nice. You like them.
And he takes a moment, starts to stroke Dulcar, and Dulcar settles, kind of does the little dog-like circle, and sits in Cormorn's lap. He looks up at you. Or actually, probably just turns his head, because he's a gnome sitting in a chair and you're a goblin standing up, so it's probably about the same height. But he turns towards you. You feed it. You give it water. You give it love. You are responsible for whatever... And you can tell he's trying to think through his words very carefully. Whatever misfortune befalls you, if it's following you, will befall it. You understand?
I will take care of it.
And lastly, don't go near the kobolds, they'll want to eat it.
Well,
Actually, probably the dwarves too. Stay away from the dwarves.
Well, at least one of them might not bother me anymore. I don't know.
Really? What'd you do? And like at this point, like he's starting to, you see him just toothful smile as he's just super excited. He's like, "What'd you do?"
And I'm going to slowly and kind of sheepishly hold up my frying pan, which likely has remnants of acid and kobold.
It has a little bit of the kobold blood mixed with that green liquid. Now it's turning like a weird brown, like a rust-colored brown. And the blood is starting to, like, it's starting to bubble. It's like if you put hydrogen peroxide on like a wound, it's like starting to bubble and whatnot.
Yeah.
And he takes it, and he takes like a rag and wipes off the gunk from it and hands it back to you and goes, "It's a good addition. And you stood up for yourself. You're going to need to learn how to do that a little bit more."
I didn't really like fighting, but it looked like it needed help.
Taking care of things that are smaller and weaker than us is a brave and noble quest, for lack of better words. Sometimes you will have to fight
with your body, with your might, with your brawn. Sometimes you'll have to fight with your mind, knowing when to use which. Or if you find people who are strong and can fight physically for you, that's also a thing. But knowing when to do which, that's for you to find out.
What makes someone want to fight?
Well, feel like that's a loaded question, but there's a lot of answers. Sometimes greed, jealousy, hunger, which actually can mean multiple different things depending on your definition of hunger. Seeking glory or honor. You'll meet lots of people who have many different reasons for why they fight and what they fight. They're not always the right ones.
Sometimes when people fight, they don't stop. They keep going until
there's a balance between knowing when to give life, when to take life, and when to give the opportunity to run. If you face an enemy you know will not run for whatever reason, and he kind of just sits there and like he slumps a little, like the answer is obvious.
what if you don't want to hurt them?
Find a way not to, would be my best advice.
I asked Figura about this, and they got sad. They I had asked if you had ever created something that didn't go as expected.
I did. And so did Figra. We all do at some point. It's the way our minds work. Not necessarily creating something living or breathing, or sometimes it's just creating something and realizing that you probably shouldn't.
But have you ever created something that felt?
Yeah, I have. She's actually up in the attic.
You still have her?
She lies dormant until we need her. Come. And he takes you and he brings you up to the attic. And there you see a what looks to be like almost like a square box with like a light. It's like a combination of the lantern from Pixar and like a really tiny bookshelf with legs, and a door where like the books would normally go. And he turns on the light, like the little switch where the light's connected, and when the light comes on, you watch as this machine comes to life and starts to move around. It doesn't say anything, but you can tell that its presence, like it has a physical presence in the room and understands why it's there, and it like immediately brushes up against Cormorn.
And he pats it on the top of the lantern and lantern head, and there, old friend. And Art, this is L1B3, also known as Libby.
Oh, hi, Libby.
And Libby, like, you watch as like the lantern portion just dips down and like a nod toward you. Libby here was one of many creations that Tigra and I have made. I used some of her knowledge to craft Libby personally, and when you make something, usually it's for a specific purpose. Libby here, and he opens up the cabinet and reaches his hand in and pulls out a book, stores most of Figra's and I's journals and treaties. Only he and I can access them.
What's in them?
Our life's work. Secrets that aren't meant to be brought to light, or sold, or bartered.
Why?
Sometimes you create things that shouldn't have been created. And when you do so, you don't want the wrong people to get their hands on them.
How do you keep the wrong people from getting their hands on them?
And he points to Libby. Worked especially hard to make sure that when I go one day, Libby goes. And when Libby goes, anything stored within inside of Libby is gone.
But isn't that valuable knowledge?
To the right people, yes. To you, maybe one day. But to me, it's something that needs to stay buried for a long, long time.
Art's gonna ponder this for a moment. What if this knowledge could be used to help someone?
And he smiles and laughs. And everything in there can help someone. It's a matter of whether or not it should. Making things, as I know you've experienced, isn't always about helping people. Sometimes it's about protecting them. It may help a lot of people, but may also cause a great deal of pain for others. There's balance in everything. Creating life, taking life. It's a lot of the hocus pocus that Figra believes with his alchemy. But it's true. And don't get me wrong, I would love to help the majority of people in this world, but sometimes if knowledge gets into the wrong hands,
which oftentimes it seems to do, bad things can happen.
Bad things can happen.
There's also plenty of good. As you've seen, good majority of what you do. You wouldn't have this little guy, and he points down to Dulcar, if you hadn't stepped up and did the right thing. So remember. Go ahead.
I've made mistakes. I just want to do the right thing.
And he takes your chin, like lifts up your chin and looks you in the eyes. And we've all made mistakes, and we've all figured out and atoned for them in our own ways. Your mistake, well, big from a certain perspective, isn't quite as big as the world around you.
I just want to make things right.
And how do you think you can do that?
I don't know. I'm still not entirely sure what I did.
Well, until you do, study and learn. And work on keeping yourself and this one alive.
I think Dulcar wants a snack.
Go on.
And I'm going to scamper on out with Dulcar in tow. But just before I leave the room, I am going to take one last little glance at Libby before leaving the room.
Okay. And as you do, you watch as you turn around, you see Cormorn kneeling down in front of Libby. Almost respectfully, it's give me an insight check.
Do I have a modifier for that? I don't. So that'll be an 11.
An 11. Cormorn is very, very, he keeps himself not necessarily well composed, but he's a very stoic person. And to see him on a level where he's, showing emotion toward this mechanical being before he puts the light out is something you haven't seen before, but it's also, you'd recognize it as him being sincere and kind, and almost as if he's saying goodbye, whether temporarily or for good, to a friend. And the light extinguishes as you head, as Libby's body again kind of goes back to sitting almost position on the ground.
Well, I watched this happen, just barely peeking through the door, and then make my way down to the kitchen and find myself another nice stick of butter, and I split it with Dulcar.
Go ahead and make a sleight of hand check for me, please.
Yeah, that's on brand. 7.
You hear from the alchemy lab, "Don't you dare touch the butter. We don't need you taking more." And then you squeak and you hear a chuckle followed by, "Just don't take all of it."
Dulcar needs their snack.
and you and Dilkar eat your snack and enjoy it. And we zoom out. Art, you somehow gain 2 levels from that.
Oh, golly.
So you are now, we're past tier 4, where you would get your feat.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead. What feat would you like to take?
I am taking the Artificer Initiate feat.
Okay. And what cantrip in what first level spell are you taking?
For the first level spell, I'm going to be taking Tasha's Caustic Brew. Remembering the citrusy, acidic flavor and aroma from earlier.
There you go. Gonna regret that later. No, I'm kidding. That's a great spell. And then for your cantrip, your third cantrip?
For the cantrip, I was considering doing Acid Splash.
Ooh, I like that. Very nice.
Actually, wait. Yeah. No, that was the one I was thinking. Yep.
So, Art. And for those of you watching, know right now that Logan is very in a weird place because Logan had some other things planned, but then Art brought up conversations and they were flowing. So that's why he got 2 levels. However, because I have tick marks of all the things I wanted to accomplish with Art today, and that conversation, along with the encounter with Duakar, ticked both those boxes. But Art, time goes by. You study with Figra, and you study with Cormorn. You learn how to build and craft and use your mechanical and intellectual know-how to infuse items with magical, almost arcane essence, but they aren't. They're like just born, like they're this weird combination of innovation and creativity that is should be magical but isn't. And one day, you decide that your past wouldn't haunt you anymore. You'd go out and try to find that place, that thing, and get answers for what you needed. Kind of just get yourself back into the right place and see how you can help the world. Your travels take you west, and you find yourself sitting in the shittiest, dankiest, salt-smelliest bar in Cantor, in Swagat, where we will begin our journey in September. Thank you all for joining us. Eddie, is there any? You know what? I will offer you one last kind of the one retcon I will allow is is there anything else you would have liked to do before you left home?
The one last thing that I probably would have done is at one point before I would go on my journey, curiosity would get the better of me, and I would have attempted to see if there was a way for me to examine Cormorn's research.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a stealth check.
That'll be a 15.
Okay. Give me a Arcana check. Are you proficient with Arcana or Investigation?
Arcana.
Okay, give me an Arcana check.
That will be a 23.
23. And then give me an Investigation check.
Cool. So a 15.
I do have another D4 here if you want it.
I'm not sure how much it'll help me, but sure. Anything at this point.
It's +3.
Cool. So that'll bring me from a 1 on the die to a 4 on the die +4. So that'll make 8.
8. Okay. my question for you is, do you take the item, like, do you take what you're looking at? I'm not going to tell you what it is quite yet, but is your intention to take it and hold on to it?
I'm gonna roll a d20 on that.
All right.
What are you gonna do, Art? Yep, Art takes it.
Okay. You don't understand it. There are multiple drawings of various different things. You see things that look very similar to the cannon towers. You see things that look very similar to the bastions, which are the giant mech guardians that protect the walls of Finklentoog. And finally, you see notes, more of questioning notes, about where the Warforged came from. And one word sticks out to you in particular: the Felrast. And Felrast is spelled Falrast. You take it, you throw it into your bag, and after a period of time goes by, you say goodbye to Figra and Cormorn and head on your way.
Bye, Dad. Bye, Dad.
Both in unison.
I'll be back soon.
Figra is getting a little emotional and comes in and, like, tearing up, gives you a hug and says, "You'll come home when it's time to." And Cormorn looks at you, gives you a slap on the shoulder, and a big old bear hug. Doesn't say anything, but you can hear as he's hugging you that little bit of, like, a, when you're crying and you have, like, you're trying to hold back the cry and you get that, like, chest palpitation. You get one of those. And then he kind of just takes you and pushes you out the door and says, "Go on, have your fun, have your adventure."
And of course, yep.
Dukar comes skimpering out right behind you, and you continue on your way to the shittiest, dirtiest, saltiest, insert random disgusting graphic there, bar in Cantor, in Swega, where we will see Art again in September. All right, now we can actually say thank you all. Thank you all for watching. You know, my ADHD brain is just like 1 minute, I'm like, all right, cool, we're ending it. And then I'm like, wait, I forgot to let him finish anything.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, but thank you all for joining us. Yes. Let's see, who is not Critical Role that we can raid?
Oh, right, because it's Thursday.
Gilding Light. Gilding Light is on. Let's raid some Gilding Light. They look like they're playing some D&D. Give them a big old hello. The next episode, the next Prologue episode is going to be next Thursday, which is the... Words are hard. Numbers are... I think it's the 12th. Yeah, right. It's the 12th, with the bearded badass known as Ronan Fox.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, for fuck's sake. You gotta say it with like a bit of an Irish accent. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, for fuck's sake. But yeah, so Ronan will be coming in with his character on next Thursday. Normally we won't be playing on Thursday. We'll be playing on Tuesday nights from 8 p.m. until probably about 10:30, depending on where the night takes us. But for these, it was very much based on kind of when everybody's schedule could fit at the moment, because I wanted to get these started as soon as possible. Thank you guys all for watching. And yeah, we're going to raid Gilding Light. Give them a big ol' hello from us, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone.